Hello everyone, I'm Pedram from Pedram Language Academy, and in this video, I'm going to tell you almost everything about IELTS speaking test. So if you're planning to take the test in the near future, make sure to watch this video until the very end because almost all the questions that you might have in your mind about IELTS speaking test are going to be answered. So let's stop beating around the bush and get down to the business. Question number 1, for how long should I talk about every single question in the IELTS speaking test? Well, the answer really depends. It depends on the question and the part of the speaking test. As you may know, the IELTS speaking test contains 3 parts. Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3. In each part, you're going to be asked some questions and you're supposed to answer the questions. The point is that the answers to Part 1 should be actually basically shorter because you're going to be asked more personal questions, and I myself call them kind of ping pong questions because the questions are going to be shorter and the answers are going to be shorter as well. So as a rule of thumb, I can say that your answers should be something about, 10 to 20 seconds. But the point is that you're going to take the IELTS test in order to prove your fluency and your ability about speaking skills. So you should not hesitate and you should not limit yourself to 1 or 2 sentences. So the more you talk, the better, because if you talk more, it shows your fluency. And even if the examiner stops you, it's going to be totally okay. So try not to limit yourself. But as a rule of thumb, the answers to questions in part 1 should be something about 10 to 20 seconds. For part 2, you'd better speak for the whole 2 minutes that you would be given for the cue card. And for part 3, the point is that questions in part 3 are going to be more philosophical compared to part 1. So your answers should be longer. For example, something about 30 seconds to 40 seconds in some cases. So in part 3, you have to provide more reasons, more details, and even make more examples to expand and develop your answer. So this is all about the length of the answers that you're supposed to give in the IELTS speaking test. Question number 2, what types of topics will be asked in the IELTS speaking test? Well, I have to tell you that all of the topics and all of the questions that might be asked in IELTS speaking test and even writing are limited to something between 13 to 15 or 16 topics that you can see them all here in the photo. But the point is that recently the questions have been more detailed or more philosophical compared to, for example, 10 years ago or 7 years ago. So the point is that the topics are going to be basically the same things as the past, but the questions are more philosophical, more detailed, and you have to think more about the questions in both speaking and writing parts. But as you can see, the topics are mainly about one of these that you can see in the photo. Question number 3, how many questions will I be asked? Well, I have to tell you that this IELTS speaking test is a one-on-one, face-to-face interview, and you will be asked questions in 3 different parts, part 1, part 2, and part 3. In part 1, you will be asked something about 8, 9, or sometimes more like 12 questions, but the questions are short and the answers are short as well. And it takes something about 4 to 5 minutes. In part 2, you would be given a cue card and you would be given 1 minute to think about it or even write some notes. And after that, you would be given 2 minutes to give your answer. And in part 3, you would be asked something between 4 to 6 questions that are more philosophical, more general topics. And it will take something about 4 to 5 minutes. Question number 4, can I ask the examiner to repeat the question? The answer is yes. In part 1, you can ask the examiner to repeat the question, but you are not allowed to ask him or her to define the meaning of the words because they are not allowed to do that. In part 2, you would be given a cue card, so there is no need to ask someone to repeat the question, but the point is that you are not allowed to ask the examiner to change the cue card and the topic because they are not allowed to do that. And in part 3, in some cases, I myself recommend that you ask the examiner to repeat the question. Why? Because if you're not sure about the question and the concept, by asking the examiner to repeat the question, it's going to be kind of better for you. Why? Because when the examiner repeats the question, he or she tries to rephrase and actually paraphrase the question, say the question in a new way, in a different way. So it will be even easier for you to understand the question, and you will be more likely to understand and answer correctly. So in part 1 and part 3, you will be allowed to ask the examiner to repeat the question, and it's not going to be at the cost of losing your score. No, it's going to be totally okay. And feel free to ask the examiner to repeat the question if you don't understand. You can use either of these sentences to ask the examiner to repeat the question in case you don't understand the question correctly. Question number 5. Can I ask the examiner to change the topic in part 2? As I said before, in part 2, you would be given a cue card and you are not allowed to ask the examiner to change the topic. Even if you ask, the examiner will not do that. So whatever the question, you are supposed to talk about it. So try to do your best based on the prompts that are given on the cue card. You have to come up with some idea to give an answer. So I have to tell you that no, the answer is going to be no. You are not allowed to ask the examiner to change the topic in part 2 for the cue card. Next question. Does it matter if I have an accent when I talk? This is one of the most common questions, and I can say one of the main concerns of IELTS candidates. The point is that your accent is not going to earn you a score. No matter you've got a brilliant British or American accent, or I don't know, a Chinese, Indian, or any other type of accent. Your accent is not going to bring you a score. The point is that your pronunciation is going to be important. So no matter what's your accent, as long as you can pronounce every single word correctly and you can convey the message in a clear way that the examiner will understand, it's going to be totally okay. So the thing that you have to focus on is your pronunciation and not necessarily your accent. Should I correct myself when I'm speaking in the IELTS speaking test? The point is that yes and no, it really depends. You know, self-correction is going to be okay, especially in case you make grammatical errors. So you have to, it's highly recommended to correct yourself, to use self-correction if you make any grammatical error or if you say something that is totally off topic or is kind of wrong. So in such cases, you have to correct yourself. But the point is that self-correction should not be at the cost of losing and actually disrupting your fluency. And the other point is that when you correct yourself, you have to try to use new range of vocab. I mean, you should not keep repeating the sentence again and again when you are correcting yourself. Try to rephrase and paraphrase and show the flexibility that you have in using a wide range of vocab or even grammatical structures. So the point is that self-correction is going to be okay if it's not going to disrupt your fluency, and try to rephrase and use a new range of vocab or grammatical structures when you're going to repeat the sentence that you made mistaken. So this is the one, but there is no need to be worried or concerned about minor errors. If you make minor errors, you can just ignore them because everyone is likely to make such errors, so it's not going to be a big deal. What can I do if I have no ideas about the question? Well, this is very likely to happen in IELTS speaking test. And to be honest, this is one of the major concerns of all the students who come to me, and I'm sure all the students all around the world. The point is that you are going to be assessed based on your English skills, not your knowledge or technical knowledge. So it's going to be totally okay. It's not going to be a big deal if you have no idea. The point is that you have to be able to express the reasons in English. If you don't know anything about the question, say that you don't know about the question and say why you have no idea about the question. At the end, you can come up with a short answer or opinion about the question. no matter how hard the topic is. So that's it. It's not going to be a big deal. Just the examiner is going to understand. So tell him or her that you have no idea, why you have no idea, and you can come up with something at the moment that comes to your mind about the topic. So it's going to be totally okay. Can I ask the examiner for his or her opinion? I have to tell you that although IELTS speaking test is a one-on-one and kind of friendly interview, you are not supposed to ask the examiner's opinion. You are there to be graded, to be scored based on your English skill, and you are not supposed to ask the examiner's opinion. And the other point is that you also shouldn't be worried about their opinion. I mean, the examiner's opinion of you as a person. If you make any mistake, you should not be worried. You should not lose your confidence, and you should not be stressed out because, oh my God, they are going to judge me. No, they are experts, and they know that you're a human, you're an individual, and you're a test taker, and you're going to be stressed out. So these things are very normal, and they are experts. So you shouldn't be worried about making any mistakes or their judgments. So as a recap, you are not supposed to ask their opinions, and you also shouldn't be worried about their opinions about you. What does it mean when the examiner interrupts me? Well, this is very likely to happen in your IELTS speaking test because of some reasons. The point is that you're supposed to answer to something about 15, 16 questions in less than a quarter. So you don't have much time. So the main reason that examiner interrupts the candidate is because of the lack of time. In other cases, sometimes the candidate already provided the answer that the examiner is looking for. So they interrupt the candidate to ask a new question to assess a different aspect of their English skills. So it's going to be totally okay if the examiner interrupts you. It doesn't mean that you're wrong or you're going to lose a score. No, it's not going to be that one. The point is that you don't have much time. So in most cases, the examiner will interrupt you to move on to next question because they are supposed to ask a wide range of questions to assess different aspects of your English knowledge and skill. Can I use my body language? The point is that you are there to be graded, to be assessed based on your language skills, your English language skills. But the point is that using body language always helps. How? Because first of all, it's going to improve and boost your confidence, your self-confidence. And second of all, it's going to help you leave a better impression. So it's going to be totally okay to have body language, but I told you, the criteria that you're going to be assessed based on are not going to be about body language, but it's going to be helpful. How will the speaking test be assessed and marked? Well, the point is that your speaking test and your speaking skill will be assessed and graded based on four main criteria. It's going to be based on your fluency and pronunciation, your fluency and coherence, vocab range, grammatical structures and grammatical range, as well as pronunciation. So fluency and coherence, vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation are the main four criteria based on which your speaking skill will be assessed in the IELTS speaking test. Should I give examples in my answers? I have to say yes, of course. Giving examples is highly recommended. Why? I'm going to tell you that. One of the best ways to improve your score is to expand and develop your answers when you are answering the questions in IELTS speaking test, because the more you talk, the better the examiner will be able to assess your fluency and other factors. So, how can I develop and expand my answer? There are three main ways. First, by explaining why. Whenever you say something, you can say why. So this is the first way. The second way is by giving examples. And the third way is by giving concession. I mean, by talking about the opposite side of the topic. So these are the main three ways which help you expand and develop your answer and show your fluency, grammatical range, as well as vocab range. So giving examples is highly recommended in the IELTS speaking test. How should I grade the examiner at the beginning of the speaking session? Well, the point is that it's going to be really important to make a good first impression. How? I myself always suggest that you start with a smile, and you keep that smile during the whole test because it's going to be a friendly interview. The other points are that, for example, you have to wait until you will be offered a seat. Then use contractions when you're speaking. For example, at the beginning, you should not say, my name is Pedram. My name's Pedram. Use contractions, because if you don't, it's going to be very basic. And don't speak too fast. And the other factor is that make sure you allow the examiner to finish the questions. And you should not jump in before they finish the questions. So these are the main points that you have to take into account and take into consideration when you're going to take the speaking test. Last but not least, how can I improve my score in the IELTS speaking test? Hi again, I'm back. Well, I have to tell you that several different factors contribute to an IELTS speaking score, like fluency, pronunciation, and a good range of vocab and first topic related vocabulary, grammatical structures using complex sentence structures, switching between different verb tenses, and expanding and actually developing your opinion, how to develop your opinion, making examples, using transition signals, linking words, phrasal verbs, and of course idioms. All these factors together are going to lead you to a better speaking score. And I'm super honored and happy to announce that over the past 7 years that I've been teaching IELTS and I've been preparing my students as an IELTS instructor for the IELTS test, all those who worked on my speaking booster package could manage a 7 or above 7 score in their IELTS speaking test, like 7, 7.5, or even 8, as you can see on my website or on my Instagram page or even the speaking booster file. So the point is that in this package, I have prepared almost everything you need for a 7 or above that in your IELTS speaking test, like topic related vocab, practical phrasal verbs, practical idioms and how to memorize them, and transition signals, linking words, and of course, the point is that I have prepared some essential tips and above all, some essential and handy strategies. You know, the point is that regardless of your English knowledge, the thing that's going to set you apart is having a plan, having a strategy about answering the questions. In this file, I have prepared some different strategies for each question type and each part of the speaking test. So if you spend quality time on this file, I guarantee that you're going to get 7 or above that in your IELTS speaking test. All you need is to contact me on WhatsApp, Telegram, or DM me on Instagram to order the PDF. The good news is that in addition to the PDF file, you're going to receive a couple of audio files that are sample speaking tests, as well as the answers. So it's going to teach you how to answer the questions based on the same strategies and grammatical structures that I've already mentioned in the file. So it's going to be a perfect package for those who are going to take the IELTS speaking test. That's it. So thank you again for making it until the end of the video. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to upload more and more videos on IELTS and different English topics. And feel free to contact me if you have any question or if you're going to order and book your online English packages or online English classes. Feel free, I will be available on WhatsApp, Telegram, and Instagram. Thank you again. Don't forget to take care of yourself. Have a great time. Bye-bye.